What's the difference between someone who dreams and someone who achieves? Is it talent? Is it luck? Is it opportunity? No. It's something far simpler and far more challenging. Discipline. Today, I'm going to tell you about Mikey Torres, a young man who had all the talent in the world and none of the discipline to use it. His story will show you that natural ability can open doors, but only discipline can carry you through them. Because here's the brutal truth most people don't want to hear. Your dreams don't care about your potential. They don't care about your excuses. They only respond to your daily actions. And without discipline, even the biggest dreams remain forever out of reach. This is a story about what happens when talent meets discipline, and what's lost when they never do. 23-year-old Mikey Torres had the fastest hands anyone at Riverside Boxing Gym had ever seen. Coaches who had trained professional champions watched him spar and said the same thing. That kid could be world-class, if only he showed up on time. If only he followed the training plan. If only he took it seriously. Mikey had been boxing since he was 15, and in 8 years, he had won exactly 3 amateur tournaments, not because he lacked skill, but because he lacked discipline. He would train intensely for 2 weeks, then disappear for a month. He would dominate in the ring, then celebrate so hard he'd miss the next week of practice. He had natural talent that fighters would kill for, but he treated it like a hobby instead of a calling. His trainer, Old Man Rivera, had finally had enough. After Mikey missed the 3rd practice in 2 weeks, Rivera pulled him aside. "You're done, kid," Rivera said flatly. Mikey laughed, thinking he was joking. "Come on, coach. I'll be here tomorrow, I promise." "No, you won't, because I'm not training you anymore." Rivera's face was stone. "I've been coaching for 40 years, and you know what I've learned? Talent is common. Discipline is rare. And I'm not wasting my time on someone who has one without the other." "But coach, I'm your best fighter." "You're my most talented fighter," Rivera interrupted. "But you're not my best. My best fighters show up every day. They do the work when they don't feel like it. They sacrifice parties for practice, comfort for consistency. You show up when it's convenient and disappear when it's not. That's not a fighter. That's a tourist." Mikey felt anger flash through him. "Fine. I don't need you. I'll train myself." Rivera shook his head sadly. "You've been training yourself, Mikey. And look where it's gotten you. 23 years old with more potential than achievement. You're running out of time to figure this out." The stakes were higher than Mikey realized. In 6 months, there would be a regional championship tournament. Winners would get scouted by professional promoters. It was the opportunity Mikey had dreamed about since he first put on gloves. But without a trainer, without a gym, and without discipline, that dream was slipping away. Worse than losing the opportunity was losing respect. From his trainer, from his peers, from himself. Mikey had spent 8 years being the talented kid who never made it. He was becoming a cautionary tale instead of a success story. The real stake was this. Mikey was at the age where potential turns into either achievement or regret. And right now, he was on the wrong side of that line. For 2 weeks, Mikey tried training alone. He'd show up at a different gym, hit the bags, do some shadow boxing, and leave. No structure, no plan, no discipline. He told himself he was fine. He didn't need Rivera. He didn't need anyone. Then he ran into Carmen Rodriguez at a coffee shop, a former boxer who had trained at Riverside 10 years earlier. Carmen had been a regional champion before a knee injury ended her career. Now she ran a small community center across town. "I heard Rivera dropped you," Carmen said, sitting down uninvited at his table. Mikey bristled. Word travels fast. Small boxing community. Carmen stirred her coffee. "Want to know why he dropped you?" "Because he's a stubborn old man who—" "Because you reminded him of his son," Carmen interrupted. Mikey stopped. He'd never heard Rivera mention a son. Carmen's voice softened. "Rivera's son, Diego, had more talent than anyone I've ever seen. Could have been a world champion. But he had the same problem you do. No discipline. He'd train hard for a fight, win spectacularly, then party for weeks. Eventually, he stopped showing up altogether. Last I heard, he's 40 years old, working construction, and still telling people he could have been somebody. The words hit Mikey like a punch to the gut. Rivera doesn't drop talented fighters because he's mean, Carmen continued. He drops them because watching them waste their potential breaks his heart. He'd rather cut them loose than watch them become another Diego. She stood to leave, then turned back. You know what the tragedy is, Mikey. Diego was talented. You're talented. But neither of you figured out that talent without discipline is just wasted potential. And wasted potential is the saddest thing in the world. That night, Mikey couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Diego, a 40-year-old man still talking about what he could have been. Is that what Mikey would become? A has-been who never actually was? The next morning, Mikey did something he hadn't done in years. He set his alarm for 5 a.m. When it rang, every part of him wanted to hit snooze. But he thought about Diego and forced himself out of bed. He didn't have a gym, he didn't have a trainer, but he had a decision. Starting today, he would find out what he could become if he brought discipline to match his talent. Mikey showed up at Carmen's community center at 6 a.m. She was already there, running a free boxing program for local kids. I need help, Mikey said simply. Carmen studied him. You want a trainer? No, I want someone to teach me discipline. Carmen smiled slightly. Those are the same thing, but I'm not Rivera. I can't train you for professional fights. I coach kids. Then teach me what you teach them. Carmen considered this. Okay, but we do it my way. That means showing up every single day at 6 a.m. That means following a training schedule even when you don't feel like it. That means no excuses, no exceptions, no negotiation. You miss one day without a medical emergency and we're done. Can you handle that? Mikey nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Good. We start tomorrow. Don't be late. The next 90 days were the hardest of Mikey's life. Carmen's program was brutally simple. Show up, do the work, repeat. No shortcuts, no exceptions. Some days, Mikey woke up sore and exhausted, every muscle screaming at him to rest. But he showed up. Some days, friends invited him to parties, nights out, adventures. But he said no. Some days, the training was boring. Endless repetitions of the same basic movements, fundamentals he'd been doing since he was 15. But he did them. Carmen never gave motivational speeches. She just showed up every day and expected him to do the same. The message was clear. This is what discipline looks like. Not excitement, not inspiration, just consistent, daily action. Around week 6, something shifted. Mikey noticed his body responding differently. His movements were sharper. His stamina had increased. His mind felt clearer. The discipline was working, not because of any single day's effort, but because of the accumulated effect of 90 consecutive days. One morning, Carmen watched him spar with one of her advanced students. Afterward, she nodded approvingly. You're different now, she said. I feel different, Mikey admitted. Stronger. Faster. That's not what I mean. Carmen looked at him seriously. You're different because you're becoming someone who keeps promises to himself. That's what discipline really is. Self-respect expressed through action. Every day you show up, you are proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who does what they say they'll do. That changes everything. With 8 weeks until the regional championship, Mikey did something terrifying. He went back to Riverside Boxing Gym. Rivera was in his usual spot watching fighters spar. When he saw Mikey, his expression didn't change. Coach, Mikey said quietly, I'm not here to ask for anything. I'm here to apologize. You were right. I had talent but no discipline. I was wasting your time and my potential. Rivera studied him silently. I've been training with Carmen for 3 months. Every single day. No exceptions. I'm not the same fighter I was, because I'm not the same person. Why are you telling me this? Rivera asked. Because the championship is in 8 weeks, and I want to compete. But more than that, I want you to know that I finally understand what you were trying to teach me. Talent isn't enough. Natural ability isn't enough. The only thing that matters is what you do with it every single day. Rivera was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Show me." For the next hour, Rivera put Mikey through the hardest training session of his life. He tested his stamina, his technique, his mental toughness. Mikey was exhausted, hurting, ready to collapse. But he didn't quit. He didn't cut corners. He kept going. When it was over, Rivera nodded slowly. "You're right. You're not the same fighter." "Does that mean you'll train me for the championship?" "No," Rivera said. Then he smiled, the first smile Mikey had seen from him in months. "It means I'll train you for a career. The championship is just the beginning." But there was a catch. Rivera had one condition. "You keep showing up at Carmen's gym every morning. You don't abandon the discipline that got you here just because you have a trainer again. Success isn't about what you do when people are watching. It's about what you do when no one is watching. Promise me you won't forget that," Mikey promised. The night before the regional championship, Mikey couldn't sleep. Not from fear, but from anticipation. This was the moment he'd been dreaming about for 8 years. But unlike before, he knew he had actually prepared for it. Rivera had warned him. Talent might win you the first round, but discipline wins fights. When you're exhausted, when your opponent won't quit, when everything in you wants to give up, that's when discipline matters most. The tournament was brutal. Mikey won his first 2 fights by decision. His third opponent was a fighter named Jackson, older, more experienced, and known for his endurance. The kid who could go 12 rounds without slowing down. By the third round, Mikey was hurting. His body wanted to quit. His mind started offering excuses. "You've already proven yourself. Second place is still impressive. No shame in losing to someone better." But then Mikey remembered something Carmen had said. "Discipline means doing what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it." He thought about 90 consecutive mornings at 6 a.m. He thought about Diego, the talented fighter who became a 40-year-old with regrets instead of championships. He thought about every promise he'd kept to himself over the past 4 months. In round 4, Jackson came at him with everything. Mikey was exhausted, but so was Jackson. The difference was this: Mikey had trained for this exact moment, not just physically, but mentally. 4 months of discipline had built not just his body, but his character. When Jackson threw a wild haymaker, Mikey saw the opening. His body, trained through thousands of repetitions, responded automatically. A combination of punches, jab, cross, hook, executed with precision, even through exhaustion. Jackson went down. The referee counted to 10. The crowd erupted. Mikey had won the regional championship. But as he stood in the ring, hand raised in victory, Mikey realized something profound. The trophy wasn't the real prize. The real prize was discovering who he became through the process of earning it. 6 months after winning the championship, Mikey sat with a group of young fighters at Carmen's community center. A skinny 15-year-old kid with fast hands had just asked him, "How did you get so good?" Mikey smiled, remembering when he would have answered that question with natural talent or good training. "You want the honest answer?" Mikey said. "I got good when I stopped relying on talent and started building discipline. See, I used to think discipline meant punishing yourself or giving up fun, but that's not what it is." The kids leaned in. "Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Every day you have a choice. Do you want the temporary comfort of sleeping in, or do you want the lasting satisfaction of becoming who you're capable of being? Do you want the quick pleasure of skipping practice, or do you want the deep fulfillment of achieving something extraordinary?" Mikey pulled out his championship medal. He carried it not as a trophy, but as a reminder. "This medal represents hundreds of decisions. Hundreds of mornings when I didn't want to wake up but did anyway. Hundreds of evenings when my friends were out having fun and I was in the gym. Hundreds of moments when my body wanted to quit but my discipline wouldn't let it." One kid raised his hand. "But what if you don't feel motivated?" Perfect question, Mikey said. Because here's the secret. Motivation is what gets you started. Discipline is what keeps you going. Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes. Discipline is a decision you make regardless of your feelings. He looked around at the young faces. You all have dreams. Some of you want to be champions. Some want to go to college. Some want to start businesses. Whatever your dream is, here's what I promise you. Your talent might get you noticed, but your discipline will determine whether you succeed. 3 years later, Mikey was a professional boxer with a 12-2 record. But when people interviewed him about his success, he never talked about his talent or his victories. He talked about the 90 days at Carmen's gym. He talked about 6 a.m. wake-ups. He talked about choosing long-term dreams over short-term comfort. And whenever a young fighter asked him for advice, he told them the same thing Rivera had told him. Talent is common. Discipline is rare. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, become someone who does ordinary things extraordinarily consistently. If you're watching this video today, you probably have dreams. Maybe you want to start a business, write a book, get in shape, learn a skill, or achieve something that seems just out of reach. And maybe, like Mikey, you've been relying on talent, motivation, or luck to get you there. But here's what you need to hear. Discipline isn't the enemy of your dreams. It's the only path to them. Your dreams don't care about your potential. They don't care about your intentions. They don't care about what you could do someday. They only respond to what you actually do today, tomorrow, and the day after that. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's not about never failing. It's about never quitting. It's not about feeling motivated every day. It's about showing up, especially on the days when you don't feel motivated. So, here's your challenge. Pick one dream, just one, that you've been putting off or half pursuing. Then ask yourself, what would it look like to approach this dream with discipline instead of just enthusiasm? Maybe it means waking up an hour earlier every day to work on your business. Maybe it means training 4 times a week without exception. Maybe it means writing 500 words daily, even when you don't feel inspired. Maybe it means saving a specific amount of money each month with no excuses. Whatever it is, commit to 90 days of discipline, not motivation, not when you feel like it. 90 consecutive days of showing up and doing the work regardless of your feelings. Because here's what those 90 days will teach you. Discipline is not about restricting your freedom. It's about creating it. Every day you keep a promise to yourself, you become more free. Free from the regret of wasted potential. Free from the shame of broken commitments. Free from the prison of someday. Remember Mikey's transformation. He had the same talent before and after. The only thing that changed was his willingness to apply discipline to that talent, and that made all the difference. Your talent is not your limitation. Your discipline is. Stop waiting for motivation to strike. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Start building discipline today and watch how your dreams transform from fantasies into realities. The choice is yours. Will you be someone who dreams or someone who achieves? Will you be talented or will you be disciplined? Will you rely on potential or will you build consistency? Your future self is watching you right now, hoping you make the right choice. Thank you for watching. If Mikey's story inspired you, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, success isn't about talent, it's about discipline. And discipline is a choice you make every single day. Now go out there and build the discipline that will carry you to your dreams. Your championship moment is waiting. The only question is, will you be ready when it arrives?